The song definitely refers to a kind of a rest, a deep rest, and a deep putting down of one's burdens. And I came to a night here when I was here for about 2 weeks. You know, I was in the library a lot, but there was also loads of things going on. Like you would go downstairs and there would be a performance artist and he'd be singing. He was called Coltrane. He was in residence here, so I'd always go and watch Coltrane. Sometimes one week he'd be in the library, next week he'd be down there, and he sang, and he had this paper bag with like a drink in it, and he was drinking it. I don't know if that was part of the act or, you know, it was like I was encountering all this kind of art, music meeting, which was new to me. And so I'd hear, he would sing, you know, sometimes I feel like a motherless child, or he would improvise. And then I remember on one of the nights, DJ Dwayne Powell came to play, and the night was a place where you could put your burdens down. So there was a big vessel that Theastra had made, and there was these thin slips of paper, and you would arrive at the night and you would write down your woe. You know, what is your woe? And then you'd sort of write it down and then put it in this vessel. And then you would go in for 4 hours and just kind of dance out your woes, you know. And I remember it's freezing outside, and people would arrive and just like strip off all the coats and just get into it, and, you know, have these intense gazes with each other. And, you know, strangers would come up to me, just right in my face, and I'd be right back matching them. And it was a proper mixture of people from the local community and arts people and young hip people from a different spot of Chicago. And I really liked the mixture of people, but we all had this same goal, that we wanted to put our burden down. And at the end, you know, all the burdens got set fire to. But I felt a thing had happened in this ceremony where I'd put specific things down and felt a specific freedom from this thing that I'd written down. So it worked, and it reminded me of, you know, the spell of prayer, the thing where you have an intention and something happens in your body, and something happens to your way you think about yourself, which is transformational and can't be undone. And so, you know, the song really is that, and exploring duration, I guess. You know, it's about 8 minutes long, that piece of music, and Steve Brown and Mikey Wilson they'd started this electronic project, and it was in the studio, which is in our house. And I remember at the time I was pregnant, and, you know, Steve was saying, oh, you've got to come and get involved with this electronic stuff that we're doing. And I was like, oh, I'm so tired. All I want to do is rest. All I want to do is just be away from feeling any kind of obligation to engage with this project. Like, I'm glad you guys are doing this, but because, you know, we play together all the time. I'm glad you're doing it, but I don't want it to involve me. And then I remember just being in the bath and hearing through the floor these kind of like pounding beats and these kind of like tearing synths, and being really drawn to it. And then when they went, you know, like on the nighttime, I would just like tiptoe up the stairs and just kind of put it on, like put on the headphones, and then just sort of just start singing these things. And I made it in different places. I made it in our studio, and had these things to say about this overwhelming burden and how I couldn't lift it off, and it started again, and I listened to my demons and they overwhelmed me, but then being able to sort of throw it off through dance, saying, you know, too much inside, I've got to dance it out. And then I remember another moment being in Los Angeles, and that improvised bit of I feel so free, and really having a sense of it, and knowing that the music was strange. The music is strange in terms of I have not interacted with music that sounds this way before. Not that it's strange in a global way, because obviously there's so many different kinds of experimental music. But for me, coming out of the music that I have historically made to be stepping into this, it felt so sort of cheeky and so unallowed or unavailable that there was a feeling that I wouldn't be accepted in this space. But at the same time, I felt that wasn't going to be in my way at all, because it was pulling this song out of me. So it was all the acceptance that I needed, you know. So I felt like, Put It Down came out of that experience of being here with Dwayne and having these woes eviscerated, but then also the freedom that beat and that sound and that the tearing nature of the synths, the freedom that brought to me as kind of a kind of musical knocking at me, just to follow the path where it leads.